Let's talk about invisible beginnings. If you really think deep, you have to acknowledge that the unseen, it's real. Have you ever wondered where a dream really began with some of our very greatest successors? Not the polished thing the world sees, but that very first moment when it's just you alone with your thoughts. Something quietly stirring inside your hearts. That's where it starts. At that moment, you can't focus on how it will happen. You just need to focus on the vision itself and watch it marinate. In your new vision, you're the best version of yourself. You feel the moment, you feel the success, but it hasn't happened yet. It's still a dream. So grow into your vision. Don't let your current self hold back your future self. I've been guilty of the "Dear God, bless me" prayer. A few years ago, he gave me my wake-up call and said, okay, create something that I can bless. Before there was a place called Disneyland, back in the day when Walt Disney was just a father, sitting on a bench, watching his daughters ride a carousel, he thought there should be a place where families can experience joy together. Now, there were no crowds, no castles, no firework, no Tinkerbell, just a thought. It would not let him go. Before the world ever heard the words, "I have a dream," Martin Luther King Jr. was carrying a vision. Deep in his spirit, he dreamed of a world that didn't yet exist. He could see something others couldn't see. And before millions of readers ever opened a book about a boy wizard, J.K. Rowling was sitting on a delayed train with a story forming in her mind. She had no certainty that anyone would like this idea. It was just an idea. Let's look at Mother Teresa. Her vision wasn't grand in scale, but it was deeply personal, what she described as a call within a call, to serve the very poorest. She had a compassion, and she made it into an action. She saw dignity in every person. What they all had in common was their dreams weren't random. They were rooted in something deeper, a tension they couldn't ignore. Something felt wrong or missing or unfinished, a picture of what could be, not fully clear, but clear enough to move forward. And they had a personal connection. It wasn't just an idea. It was an idea that mattered to them. So they persisted, even though they got resistance. Every one of them were doubted, delayed, or dismissed. They didn't wait until it was perfect. They started. There's a quiet truth underneath all of this. A legacy doesn't begin with something that's already built. It begins the moment you feel something that you can't ignore. It could be a tug in your heart, a whisper, a question that just keeps coming back again and again. You find yourself building an idea in your brain and it just will not let you go. The great what if. And here's the truth most people don't talk about. Almost everyone has that moment like that. An idea, a dream, a nudge to create. But when you don't act on your dream, it dies of loneliness. We have our excuses. Life gets loud, we get busy, we get practical, we get unsure, and sometimes we just talk ourselves out of the very thing that was meant to come through us because we feel too small. The project feels too big, or it just feels all too uncertain and overwhelming. But what if that quiet idea was never meant to stay quiet? What if that thing that keeps returning to your thoughts is actually the beginning of something real? It's not perfect, it's not polished, but it's real. You can see it, and you can see yourself in it. Every person we admire did not start with clarity. They started with yes. It was a very small yes, but it was a yes. Thomas Edison didn't begin with a glowing light bulb. He started with not liking the dark. He began to believe that there had to be a better way. Fred Rogers didn't begin with a beloved show, Mr. Rogers. He began with a quiet conviction that children deserve gentleness and truth. We underestimate the power of what has been placed inside of us because it doesn't arrive fully formed. It arrives as a feeling, a picture, just a small idea of what doesn't look like much yet. But neither did Disneyland look like much from a park bench. So maybe today, it isn't about figuring everything out. Maybe it's about paying attention. What keeps coming back to you? What thoughts won't leave you alone? What idea makes you feel something, even if you don't understand it yet? That might be your beginning. You don't need the approval from everyone around you, and you don't need to feel ready. You just need to be willing to not ignore it. Hold it. Think about it. Take one small step toward it, because that's how everything meaningful begins. Quietly, personally, and in your heart. So today, don't worry about building the whole dream. Just don't dismiss the beginning, because the life you were meant to create just might already be living quietly inside your heart. Don't let that dream die of loneliness.